So hey guys, welcome to another Warframe video, and today we're going to take a quick look at yet another Tenet weapon, and this time around it is going to be the Tenet Agendas. Now this one is a little bit different, so unlike the other Tenet weapons, this is one of the 4 weapons that you can only buy from Ergo Glast. And the way this works is a little bit weird. So these weapons, just like the Tenet weapons you get from the Sisters, as well as the Kuva weapons you get from Liches, have a bonus damage type on them. And the way you get it is via a weapon rotation. So every so often the element on these weapons or the bonus damage type will change. And the damage type is actually listed in the weapon's stats when you're browsing Ergo's shop. Now, in order to buy these weapons, you're gonna have to get corrupted holo keys, and these only come from Void Storms in Railjack. Farming these isn't great, they only come as a bonus at the end of the mission, about 37% of the time. You get between 2 and 6 of them depending on the tier of the Proxima, and you're gonna need 40 per weapon. Now, the Tenet Agendas is a sword, or in this case a hammer, and a shield that does 260 damage per hit, 140 out of which is electricity and 120 is impact. And other than that, we have decent enough attack speed of 0.917, good crit chance at 24%, a standard 2x crit multiplier, actually very good range of 2.6, and very nice 28% status. The best thing about this weapon though, by far, is its heavy attack. It is very unique. You essentially slam your shield into the ground, which sends a copy of your shield flying forward, and this does mad damage. It's basically full heavy attack damage for about 10ish meters, and then it falls off. The one thing to bear in mind is that if you want to do this a lot, you need to wait in between hits, because there are 2 stages of the heavy attack and the second stage is just a normal swing. Now, since this is a Tenet weapon, you do get more capacity and you extract more mastery from it as you put on more and more forma and you max it out up to a maximum of 5. So if you want to get the absolute maximum out of this thing in terms of capacity, mastery, and also unlock the ability to install a lens, you're gonna have to put on 5 forma. But that is very much not necessary, especially if you're going for a more standard light attack build. In that case, all you really need is 1 forma, which is going to be a V. And for that kind of a build, we're of course going to start off with a stance, which for me is going to be Final Harbinger. I really like the combos on it, but you can run whatever you want. Then we have Primed Pressure Point. You could probably run Condition Overload, but it's a bit of a stretch since we are missing Puncture as well as Slash. So I'm just gonna stick with Primed Pressure Point. Then we have Blood Rush, so we scale our crit as we build our combo, Organ Chatter for the crit damage, then Berserker Fury, which I still really like even though it activates on kill now. It's still a ton of attack speed that you're not gonna get anywhere else. We're gonna follow that up with Drifting Contact for the combo duration status, Volcanic Edge for Heat End status, and Virulent Scourge with Voltaic Strike for corrosive end status. Now the performance here is pretty much what you would expect from a melee weapon that has decent crit and good status, though you can kind of feel the lack of crit, especially now after the Blood Rush nerfs. You're unfortunately not gonna see any red crits even at 12 times combo. It's also very, how should I say this, enemy specific, because you don't have your standard IPS set up, right? You have to have the right element for the enemy you're fighting, and if you do have the right element, you're gonna wreck them. However, if you don't have the right element, the damage is just not gonna be as great, unsurprisingly enough. So it is definitely one of those weapons where swapping your elements based on the types of enemies you're gonna be fighting is vital. Now, if you want to go for a more heavy attack focused build, it's gonna be on the more expensive side of things, requiring 3 to 4 forma if you don't want to use Umbra forma. And for this kind of a setup, you of course want to go with the stance, though this time around the stance really doesn't matter because we're mostly using it for capacity. We're gonna run Killing Blow for the heavy attack damage and heavy attack wind-up speed, then Amalgam Organ Chatter for the crit damage and heavy attack wind-up speed, Caught Up Charge for the initial combo, so we're sitting at 2 times combo multi all the time at the cost of some combo duration, and then we want Berserker Fury because you need attack speed to speed up the animation. This is one of those weapons that has a really slow and drawn out animation on its heavy attack. There are few weapons like that, and you can't really fix it with wind-up speed, so what you need to do is add attack speed as well. Plus, it also makes the weapon feel a lot better if you decide to do few normal attacks as well. So that's the attack speed there. Then we're gonna add Fever Strike or Primed Fever Strike and Choking Touch for a ton of corrosive, and we're gonna top it all off with Sacrificial Steel for the crit and Sacrificial Pressure for the damage. Now this can do a lot of damage. It will basically one-shot even sortie level enemies, though you have to be within that 10-meter range before the fall off starts, and you also need the right element for the enemy you're fighting. Because if you have the wrong one, oh boy, it's bad. You really need the right element. It's much worse than on the light attack build, where you're getting some multipliers from combos and just the sheer amount of hits will eventually take the enemy down. Here, it's just way too slow. Also, by the way, this is something I forgot to mention, the hit from this heavy attack has a forced impact proc on it. This weapon makes me sad, dear viewer. Do you know why it makes me sad? Because it would be the perfect weapon to run a hybrid setup. You'd be using your light attack, but then a beefy enemy shows up, or an enemy is too far away, or an osprey is in the sky just out of your range, bam, heavy attack, done. But that just doesn't work, because no amount of damage, not even cleaving a planet in two, is worth losing all your combo and having to build it back up again. This is a massive downside of the new melee setup. You just can't build for hybrid builds. You just can't. The best you can do is just build for combo generation and then you lose a bunch of damage, so in the end it's just not worth it. And the reason I'm telling you all of this is because weapons like this suffer because of it, right? If you build this for light attacks, it's slightly better than average, but it's not great, and if you build it for heavy attacks, it's great in low level stuff and on the star chart, but at endgame the damage falls off pretty fast. And when you combine that with the fact that at the moment this weapon is a bit of a pain to get, and then you need to wait around to see if you get one with a good bonus damage type, I just can't really recommend it. So what I'm gonna say is this: go for it if you think the heavy attack is cool, because coolness makes up for a lot. It may only be, you know, better than average when it comes to damage, but when it comes to coolness, oh boy, it is up there. Because on top of the heavy attack just being cool, it also looks sick, and it has this, like, electric buzz on it whenever you swing it. It sounds really nice too. But anyway, I think I've been blabbering for long enough, so I thank you very much for watching as always, guys. I hope you have enjoyed the video and found it helpful, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.